Welcome back to the channel, everyone, and a new video on the little 2010 Fiesta that looked like it had been fired out of a cannon. We genuinely didn't know how bad this car was. If you haven't watched the previous video, please do go back and watch that video. It's quite entertaining. We bought this car on a whim and didn't really look at the pictures. So a lot of you in the comment section on this video very optimistic about this car, and we are as well. But you know, it is a low mileage car. I have just got off the phone to Mark at Kent Auto Salvage, and we have managed to come up with a deal for a parts car. So I'm not going to go on too much. Let's actually crack straight on with it, get round there, get the deal done, pick the parts car up so that we can get this car back on the road. Let's do it. So there we have it, a parts car. Thank you, Damien, for loading that on for us. Mark looked after us as usual. We've got the gearbox there that we need. This is a low mileage, flood damaged car. He said it's got about 55,000 on it, so we're quite happy with that. The subframe all looks perfect. All the shafts, everything that we need is on there. There's like we need an airbox. There's quite a lot floating around these cars in the yard here that still had airboxes inside them. So we've got the airbox. Well, I think we're pretty much quite close to having everything we need. I did notice that somebody has had a go at the gear change cables on this one and broke it. And also our gear change cable is broke on our one. So I'm going to need to whip a couple of those. Probably off that silver one there because it's got no engine in it. Should be nice and easy. Also, the windscreen. We are going to need a windscreen for our one, and we was going to go with this one because it is heated, but it is starting to go at the top there. So I've had a deal with him, in with the price for this car, and we're going to be taking the windscreen out of that silver one there. So job's a good one. Let's get back to the yard. Was going to time lapse the whole lot there getting that done, but I thought I'd cut in and explain what it is that we are doing. We're actually going to drop the whole lot out, engine, gearbox, strip off everything we need. And as you can see, the way we're doing it, rather than undoing all the bottom struts, we've took the bolts, the hub bolts out, and we've dropped it straight out there. Released the roll bar link arm there, both sides, and dropped the calipers down. So as soon as we release all the engine mounts, the whole lot will come down in one hit on the engine bed. It just makes life a lot easier. Then we can put the engine back in the boot of the car and take it back round to the yard. We are trying to get it done as reasonably quick as possible because obviously I need to free the truck up. I can't have it sat on the back of the truck for days. So exactly the same this side. And the other reason why we're doing that, it's going to prevent all the oil coming out of the gearbox and going all over the back of the truck. So making quite light work of it. It is a lot easier once it's all stripped out, and as you can see, we've got it propped up on both of those wheels there, and we've got the chains on it as well, and the car is still strapped down to the back of the truck, so we're quite safe. We need to get underneath now, just cut through the, what are we cutting under? Cut through the exhaust pipe just there so that we can drop the whole lot down. Let's crack on. think you would all agree that was definitely the right way of doing it and made life so much easier. And it's going to make life easier for the garage when we take it back, the breaker's yard, because that engine, we're going to lift it into the boot for them. They can lift that straight out and actually put it in their engine shed. As soon as someone rings up and wants one, they're going to have it there, out the car, ready to go. There is only that gearbox mount holding the engine bed and the drive shafts to the gearbox, but like I said earlier, really the reason we did that is because we didn't want to dump all the oil. It would have been really hard to catch it on the back of the truck. Even though it had been depolluted, it still did have some antifreeze in it and some liquid come out of the AC pump. It had been depolluted, so there is always still a little tiny bit in there, but quite straightforward, nice and simple to do. And there we have all of the bits to bolt back onto our car. Just undoing those hubs there off of the struts made life so much more easier, because you would have seen this yesterday hanging off of our ones, getting the lower arms out. So yeah, that kind of made sense to do it around that way. And you can really see when you come up close to that gearbox, you can see that how low mileage this is. It's all in quite nice condition apart from the little bit of dust on it. So we'll probably give that a good jet off before we fit that anyway. But there we go. We're now going to start. What are we going to do, Chris? Take that car back to the breakers, or should we get this stripped first?
Get the engine first.
Oh, of course we have, yeah. Silly me. We can't put the engine in the boot, of course. So we'll get all that stripped out, get that in, and then we can get that car straight back off the back of the truck. Let's do it. There we go, guys. Everything we need laying on the floor. I will be taking these hubs off both ends and I'll be returning them because our car's a bit lower mileage and there's nothing wrong with the ones on our car. But we've got the engine bed there complete. We don't need to swap anything over. And the gearbox. The only thing holding the gearbox to the bed still is that rear mount. But once we remove those hubs, we're probably going to pull the shafts out over a drain pot, drain the oil out, and then hopefully start the process today in this video, get that gearbox fitted, and if we got more time even, get the bed back in there as well. Let's get on. But before we do, I've just pulled the parts car out. You would have seen that we strapped the engine down on the back of it, and that is pretty much ready to go back round to the breaker's yard now. We've got everything we need, so I'll return that back round now, then we can actually crack on with this car. We was just swapping over it's part of the clutch kit, 3-piece clutch kit, and this is actually the thrust bearing and hydraulic slave all in one. And I just thought it's quite a clever bit of kit really. These two stick out the top of the gearbox and your pipes connect up to it, and you've got your bleed there as well, but very, very different, not something that you'd normally see, like completely different to the Fiat 500. As you can see out there, it is a bit wet. We've just washed off that engine bed and the gearbox, just blown them all off, and Chris is there fitting that clutch kit. So I'm going to quickly whip round and actually take that parts car back, get rid of that off the truck, and then as soon as we get back, we get that gearbox fitted back in the car. Unbelievable, guys. Just before I left, we plopped the gearbox on the stand with the drive shafts in it. I've gone round and dropped that car off. Chris has fitted the gearbox. I can't believe you've done that, to be honest.
Well, it was too long, mate.
That was only half an hour. And he's got the gearbox fitted in there. So what are we going on to now? Getting the bed fitted in?
Yeah.
We're ready for it. This is turning around so fast. We were so lucky to get that parts car. That was a godsend. Let's get it on there. Because we haven't really done a lot of live in this one, we decided to stick the engine bed back on live. So hopefully you can see it, guys. I forgot to put my gloves on again. Let me just grab my gloves, Chris. Every time I wash my hands, I forget to put the gloves back on. That looks pretty good my side, mate.
Don't you down a bit?
Yep. Yep.
Just got to get that steering column.
Yes. It's lined up quite nicely at the moment. going to go straight in. Probably get it hanging a little bit on those back bolts, Chris, or the front bolts rather, and then I'll jump inside and check it.
Keep going?
Yeah, go on. Yep. Yep. I've had to move my leg forward a bit. A little bit more. I think that'll do for me to get my first bolt in. Not quite, would you believe?
Back a bit.
Wants to come down a little tiny bit more.
Yeah. Bit more?
No, I think you might have to, Chris. Sorry. Yeah.
I think I've still got to come down, mate. Down.
Yep. Right, I've got both of mine started. I'm going to jump in there and check that steering. Yeah, that's go on lovely.
Yeah?
Yep.
Bring it the rest of the way down.
Yeah.
Got your drop link in?
I haven't yet. Yep, I'm in. It's come together pretty fast, this one, guys, considering the state it was in. I'll let you gun them up, Chris, and I'll block the microphone because that's quite loud. Yeah, I wound it in quite a long way.
Take her up, yeah.
I'll have to wind that tripod up. Right. Say where, mate, what we're going to do, lower arms and...
Yeah, keep going. Yeah, do you? Are you going back to time lapse?
Yeah, I think so. What we did there though, guys, I will mention, before we start putting it back together, silly things really, like these pinch bolts that go in these lower, they go in the bottom of the hubs. You can see now, they're really clean. Just quickly run them round on the wire wheel. And then when you put these back together and actually put them in, it really does make life easy because they get quite corroded on all cars really early on. Let's get this car back together. So yesterday just 4 hours, and today we've had 5 hours on it, so 9 so far, and I think you would agree that's brilliant. It's now all back on its wheels. We're just getting the battery off charge, and we're just about to find out, will it run? I'd like to think it'd run. It was definitely driving all right when it crashed, so we're going to get the battery in and flick that key for the first time. Keep your fingers crossed for us. We're going to actually try to start it. We've got no airbox on there, we've got no radiator or anything like that, so we are just going to briefly, hopefully fingers crossed it starts. I don't think you have to push the clutch down on these ones, Chris. Windscreen wipers work. Yeah, I don't know if that battery will be any good. It's been on charge, but sounds sweet as a nut. Nothing wrong with that at all. Sounds like a 39,000 mile car. Yeah, lovely, mate. Turn her off. Guys, I'm just going to show you a couple of bits. So in the pictures, I've now had a look at the pictures down at Copart. Again, do bear in mind people's feelings in the comment section. But there was something stuck in the window here down at Copart. And it was that. So some poor learner has had an accident while they're out practicing to drive. Also, this car, I didn't know until a couple of days ago, good friend of mine, only does vans, doesn't do cars. But his father-in-law does do a few Fiestas. And I was speaking to him and he said, have you won anything down Copart? And I said, yes, I have. I've actually got the conversation on my phone and I'm going to try and include it somewhere. I said, I won a little Fiesta. He went, oh, it wasn't a blue one, was it? He actually run me up. He said it was at £250 and I thought it was cheap. So I went all the way to 600. I said, yeah. And we bid 650 for it. So got run up there by one of my mates, or I run him up, even if he would have won it. But we're quite happy now it's driving. We'll, I suppose we'll pick up tomorrow, Chris, won't we, now? And we get that front panel and that fitted, steering column, and take it for a drive. So back in the morning, the next morning, and there's not really a lot left to do. We're going to try and get the rest of the bits that we have got for the car put back on there. The bonnet, we're still undecided. Chris will get his hammer and his dolly out probably later and have a little go at it. If we can't recover it, we'll just get a new one for it. It's going to need little bits of paintwork anyway. But piecing the video together, I can see it's quite a nice long one. So hopefully you do all enjoy it. Let's crack on and get this front panel fitted and get all the rads all plumbed up and get it back together. We've just put all the front panel back on. It's all plumbed back up, airbox all back on, water in it. We just started it up, bled the system through. Now the water's on maximum. We're just really, Chris is going to fire it up and just drive it backwards and forwards for the first time. Just make sure that gearbox is all right before that second-hand gearbox, before we start fitting the rest of it back together, because we may, if there was a problem, have to remove that all again. Yeah, mate. The engine sounds lovely. Well, that's a good start. Do you want to go right back and try a couple of the gears? That is good news, guys. And how lovely is it to have turned that car round in just a couple of videos and got it back to this stage. They all seem fine. Let's continue on. First proper little drive in it. It does sound so quiet for one of them little Fiestas, but I expect that that is purely down to the mileage. I'll just give it a quick wash down. I didn't do it on camera, just to rinse over. And I had it running the whole time just to charge that battery up. Nice, yeah? Perfect. I think we got away with that one, Chris, by the skin of our teeth. It just goes to show you guys, don't matter how long you have been doing this game, you know, anyone can get caught out. It was more than anything, we didn't look at the pictures. It was a bit of on a whim. Like, we've got auction today and we're sitting there going through each and every picture, making sure, getting a list of parts that we think it will need, looking online, seeing if those parts are available. It's just always best to do your research. And of course, if it doesn't run and drive, you know, expect a bit more work. That bonnet, it's going to need a few hours work trying to get it right. So what we'll probably do is actually go down the route of getting a new bonnet for it. But we'll see. The bodywork video and airbags is going to be another one. I'll keep it short and sweet, guys. It is already probably one of the longest videos we've ever done. But we just wanted to crack on with that car. We really, genuinely haven't spent a lot of time on it yet. Altogether, 4 hours the first day, 5 hours the second day. The auction's just started. It's 12 o'clock. We started at 9, so we've had 3 hours on it today. So we're quite happy that we haven't spent loads of time on it, and getting that parts car was definitely the right way to go. Even when we took the subframe out of that car, the bolts that was holding it in were bent. So it just saves that trip backwards and forwards to the breaker's yard. We got all those little bits and we got that car back on its wheels, running and driving. And Chris said it feels so tight, feels like a new car. So we will leave it there. Don't forget, if you haven't already, hit the thumbs up, like and subscribe, share on all your social media accounts, and we'll see you early next week in the next one. Have a lovely weekend.